OU Nightly, we're tracking a severe weather risk for parts of northern and even central Oklahoma. I'll have all the details this evening.
Plus, a lawsuit filed by Norman residents that could put the new homeless shelter in jeopardy. And we're live in Fort Worth with a preview of the Women's Gymnastics National Championship. This is OU Nightly. As you join us live, a severe weather risk for the Norman area tonight. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Clay Webster.
And I'm Gracie Steinbrink. We've had a wild week of severe weather, and today is shaping up to be just the same.
OU Nightly meteorologist Carlin McCreary joins us in the studio with our first severe weather outlook. Carlin.
That's right, guys. We are tracking some convection already starting to pop up in central Oklahoma. This severe weather risk that we're looking at is going to continue throughout the rest of this afternoon and the evening. I want you to look near the Kansas border. Some severe thunderstorm warnings already popping up. One had a report of even up to baseball-size hail. So this is something we're going to have to keep an eye on as we continue throughout the rest of this evening. Our main threat here in Norman is going to be a line of storms that's going to make its way through later tonight and bring us that chance of damaging winds and hail. Here is that severe weather outlook out from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see areas of northern Oklahoma north of I-40 in an enhanced risk. We even do have a moderate risk sitting at a 4 out of 5 level in northern Oklahoma. So this is something that we're really tracking as we continue over the next few hours or so. I'll have all the details and talk timing and threats coming up. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Carlin. You can report damage from hail and high winds at the website on your screen, damage.ok.gov.
A lawsuit has been filed against the city of Norman over the proposed homeless shelter. OU Nightly's Jack Hancock breaks down the lawsuit and what it could mean for the city.
A group of Norman residents filed a lawsuit yesterday challenging the legality of the election for Proposition 5. The proposition was a bond initiative to create a permanent homeless shelter, and 54% of Norman voters approved it. Diana Hutzel, William Coker, and Teresa Borum say the proposition falls under a section of the Oklahoma Constitution that requires a 60% vote when cities take on this kind of debt. The city argues the proposition falls under a different section, stating the public utility exception in the Constitution. This says that in cases where public utilities are voted on, only a simple majority is required. The city says this was mentioned on the shelter proposition website they made. The suit requests a temporary restraining order which would immediately stop any progress on the homeless shelter or collection of bond funds. A judge rejected that request. A date for a full hearing has not been set yet.
That was Jack Hancock reporting. Thank you, Jack. And we reached out to the resident's attorney and have not yet heard back. Our newsroom will continue to follow this story as it develops.
The city of Norman has released its 2025 annual report. The report includes the city's crime numbers from the past year. From 2024 to 2025, the city saw a 9% decrease in major crimes and a 13% decrease in injured-related car crashes. The number of property crimes also fell by 15%.
There are new developments in the conflict between Israel and Lebanon. OU Nightly's Bella O'Neill Dooley has that and the rest of today's national and international headlines from the News Center.
Israel and Lebanon have reached a 10-day ceasefire, and Iran declares the Strait of Hormuz completely open. The key shipping channel is open to all commercial ships for the remainder of the ceasefire. President Donald Trump praised this on Truth Social, but proceeded to claim the U.S. naval blockade will stay in full force until Iran agrees to the terms for ending the war. With the changes of the Iran war ending going up, the dreaded gas prices are going down. The U.S. oil benchmark, WTI crude, dipped below the $90 mark this morning. It is usually sold for $67 a barrel, but since the Iran war started, $90 is good compared to the earlier this month when the price was over $100. AAA reports the average gas price is $4.07 a gallon. This summer, ICE will look a little different. The acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Todd Lyons, is expected to leave the agency and step down on May 31st. Lyons did not say a reason for his departure during his testimony before a House subcommittee while he was questioned on all of the issues with ICE. His replacement is not yet clear. And a Chinese man is ordered by a Kenyan court to a year in jail and a $7,700 fine after trying to smuggle over 2,000 ants out of the country. Clay, Gracie.
Thanks, Bella. Coming up, what to expect on the roads this weekend. How Cleveland County and more law enforcement will be cracking down on drunk driving.
Plus, a cell phone ban for Oklahoma public schools may be back for another year. How this could impact students.
And you're taking a live look at a piece of history. A sapling of the Oklahoma City bombing survivor tree. Sunday marks 31 years since the attack on the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building.
Still ahead, hear the story of a man whose key role made a big difference in the investigation after the break. Welcome back to OU Nightly. April 19th marks the 31st anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, the largest domestic terrorist attack in American history.
OU Nightly's Lyndon Potter sat down with one of the FBI bomb technicians on the scene, who shares his story from the front lines of the investigation.
While the world watched the horror unfold, one FBI bomb technician was on the ground, working to make sense of the chaos.
So I looked over back towards downtown to the west, and it was already covered in a big cloud of smoke.
For Barry Black, his FBI career began in accounting before he later realized his passion wasn't in the office. It was in the field as a bomb technician. He worked his first case as a bomb technician in Oklahoma City, not knowing his job would be so crucial to the investigation.
And as the bomb technician on the scene, mine was to just try to get a sense of what had happened. Of course, that 32-foot crater in the street was a pretty good clue. But it was just the magnitude, the scale and scope of the devastation was nothing that I had seen before and really hadn't been seen in this country before.
Barry was part of the team that found the Ryder truck axle with a vehicle identification number, tracking the destruction back to Timothy McVeigh. Barry's work on the scene helped an exhaustive investigation come to a close. McVeigh was convicted with 11 counts related to the bombing and was sentenced to death. Barry has witnessed countless tragedies that other humans caused, but still believes there is still more good than evil.
And the world's a dangerous place, but most people are good. So you got to look for the good in people.
Reporting from Norman for OU Nightly, I'm Lyndon Potter.
Thank you, Lyndon. OU Nightly will be at the National Memorial and Museum on Sunday, bringing you stories from the 31st anniversary. You can find our team coverage on our social media and YouTube at OU Nightly.
The Cleveland Sheriff's Office will conduct a DUI checkpoint over the weekend. In a statement to OU Nightly, a spokesperson for the office says the checkpoint will be in collaboration with the Moore Police Department. The office encourages residents to drive safe and expect a heavy police presence on Friday.
The Senate passed a bill 41-5 earlier this week to keep cell phones out of schools. The bill required every public school to have a bell-to-bell policy, banning students from having cell phones the entire school day. The bill returns to the House for final consideration before being eligible to be sent to the governor. And if you're having trouble looking for activities while your family's in town,
find out what events the university has planned for Spring Family Weekend coming up.
And we're tracking severe weather in the forecast as we continue over the next few hours or so. We even do have severe weather warnings out right now, severe thunderstorm warnings. I'll have what you need to know coming up. Well, hey friends, welcome back to OU Nightly. We've got quite a bit to talk about this afternoon and evening, so let's get right into it. We do have a tornado watch out for many counties in northwestern Oklahoma for that chance to see some spin-up tornadoes as we go into this afternoon and evening with a line of storms that's going to make its way through ahead of a cold front. So I know that's kind of a mouthful of words to say, but we'll talk about what that means. Here are those temperatures that we're seeing right now across the region. There's that cold front. You could see behind that front is the cooler air that's going to eventually make its way through to our area by the time we get to tomorrow. Here's that setup right now. We've got a dry line sitting to our west, and here's that cold front. Here are those storms initiating ahead of that cold front right now. A few severe thunderstorm warnings up to our north near the Kansas-Oklahoma border. So we're keeping an eye on those as we continue throughout the next few hours or so. But overall, here is that big setup that we're looking at. There's a tornado watch that extends all the way up near Wisconsin down into parts of Oklahoma. So this system's big and it's causing a lot of issues up to our friends in the northeast. A lot of tornado warnings, even confirmed tornado warnings as we've continued over the past few hours or so. Here is that severe weather outlook for the region. You can see that moderate 4 out of 5 risk extends from Kansas City down to Oklahoma. So that is the highest risk that we do have out for today. It's a level 4 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. For us here in Oklahoma, though, that northeastern corridor northwestern quarter, of I-40 is that enhanced risk, but here in Norman, we're sitting in the slight risk. So main threats that we're going to be looking at as we continue over the next few hours or so is going to be damaging wind gusts and even hail. So let's time this out for you step by step. Here are those storms that started to kind of initiate as we've continued throughout the next few hours. But here's that line that's going to start to form throughout the later hours of this evening, right around 11 p.m. for the Oklahoma City, Norman area. So we're still pretty conditional as to how far south this line will go, but we're still keeping a very, very close eye on it throughout the next few hours. And then we do clear out into the overnight hours as we get into tonight. So for those threats, as we continue over the next few hours, the main threats here in Norman are going to be hail and damaging winds, but that tornado threat is still there. We can't rule out a few spin up tornadoes as we continue over the next few hours or so. Diving a little bit deeper into those threats, here is that large hail risk. It's going to, for the most part, be to the northwestern part of the state for that chance to see up to baseball size hail. So definitely keep that in mind. As I said, our main risk is going to be damaging winds into northern parts of Oklahoma, and then that tornado risk is there, but it's on the lower end. So we're going to keep a very close eye on it as we continue over the next few hours or so. But once this moves through, our temperatures, they're going to be cooler than what we've been seeing. I mean, look at tomorrow, 63 degrees for that high temperature. So for the spring game, if anyone's planning on heading out to that, you might want to grab a jacket. But overall, it's going to be sunny once we get through this evening. We are definitely going to keep an eye on it because, you know, you never know. Oklahoma weather, Oklahoma spring, it's something that we are well aware of here in Oklahoma. But for the spring game tomorrow, the good news is the rain's going to be gone. So,
Yeah, just have to bring a jacket.
Exactly. A little
Bring it
bit
back
cooler. It depends on how you feel with the 60s. But I mean, still sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Well, speaking of this weekend, the fun has just begun as OU's Spring Family Weekend starts today. Events include tours of OU's football stadium or a spooky ghost tour of campus. And tonight, starting at 5:30, CAC's spring concert starts on the South Oval.
And OU baseball and softball are playing all weekend, and OU football's annual spring game kicks off at noon tomorrow. To see times and what other activities you and your family can be a part of, the schedule is on OU's Parent and Family Events website.
And coming up next in sports, one Sooner squad has punched their ticket through the NCAA Finals.
And new faces for OU football will take to the field in their spring game. Find out more coming up in Big Friday Sports.
Welcome back to a jam-packed Big Friday Sports. I'm Michael Thompson, that's Oliver Schaefer, and championships are on the table for several Sooner squads.
Nightly sports reporters Sydney Cannon and Peyton Davis are live in Fort Worth for the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. Peyton, Sydney?
We are live in Fort Worth, Texas at the Kimball Art Museum. We're just down the road. OU Women's Gymnastics painted a clear path to the national championship meet tomorrow. It was a work of art performance last night, including an all-around winning showcase by senior Faith Torres and a season-high team vault score. Here's a look at how it went down.
OU opens the night on vault and wastes no time setting the tone. Junior Kira Wells delivers a near-perfect 9.95, sticking the landing and igniting the Sooners' momentum. Faith Torres follows with a 9.9375 on vault and shines across the board with exquisite routines on bars and beam, earning a 9.95 on each. And for the first time since February, Torres closes the night on floor and caps it off, claiming the all-around title, becoming just the 5th Sooner in program history to do so.
Tomorrow at 3 p.m., OU will face LSU, Minnesota, and Florida at 4 on the floor. Under head coach KJ Kindler's leadership, the team has never missed NCAA competition, and she is one of 2 active head coaches to have an NCAA title. Hear what KJ Kindler says her team needs to do to win their 8th national title.
Saturday's a new day, and so I'm sure it will bring, new challenges, new results, all sorts of things. The process is what we're focusing on right now. Recovery, hugely important to our team so that we can feel good physically and mentally. I think, like I said, consistency is key for us, and if we can be close to who we are, then we'll have a great night.
Tomorrow will be the 12th time in 13 years the Sooners advance to the championship meet. This squad will also look to earn back-to-back championships for the first time since 2022 and 2023. Reporting from Fort Worth, Texas for Sydney Cannon and Peyton Davis. We'll send it back to you guys in Norman.
Thank you both. KJ is not the only Oklahoma gymnastics coach looking for a record national title. OU Nightly's Elle Gedman has more on the Sooner men on the mat looking to pop champagne in Champaign, Illinois.
Men's gymnastics will be moving on to the final day of the NCAA championship with a final score of 322.825. Their season is undefeated so far. But don't hear it from me. Let the team tell you how they felt going into this weekend.
Just having a season where we've met every challenge and won every meet so far and kind of done it in a fairly easy fashion, that just have gotten the job done when we need to, and having that confidence going into the national championships is all we really need at this point.
Our mentality hasn't really changed. We just go in here and do the gymnastics that we always do. Obviously, you're going in and trying to make those last, perfections and critiques to your routines, but really it's just the same mentality, do the gymnastics that we do every day.
Ohio State and Nebraska will be moving on with Oklahoma. That's a whole lot of red. And the top 3 teams that compete tonight will move on as well for the final round of the championship. Find out if the Sooners can go back-to-back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Back to you guys.
Owen Heineke has been granted another year of eligibility. This is after a hearing at the Cleveland County Courthouse. Heineke, who is preparing to go pro, returns to the Sooners, who welcome him with open arms. Heineke recorded 34 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. Head coach Brent Venables couldn't be more excited to have Heineke back.
Oh my gosh, he was pretty excited, but I don't know, not as excited as I am. So, just to hear him be excited, is something that's super special. I told him, remember how excited you are right now when I have a mental error, and he said, not a chance. So, it's a good coach-player relationship. I'm excited for one more year with him.
Team 132 will battle each other tomorrow at noon in the annual spring game, which will be a full 60-minute contest with normal timing in the first quarter. After that, the final 3 quarters will be on a running clock. Fans can enter the Palace on the Prairie beginning at 10 a.m. Owen Heineke will not be on the field, but OU Nightly's Hunter Cornejo tells us about a new defensive addition that will grace Owen Field for the first time as a Sooner.
Brent Venables' defense is widely regarded as one of the best in all of college football. A key component for that is the linebacker position, and the Sooners added a talented one in Michigan transfer Cole Sullivan.
Coach Venables and the success he's had on defense over his years, and especially linebackers, and that's just my ultimate goal is to one day get to the NFL, and I just felt like coming here, this coaching staff with him and Coach Dryling would help me develop the best I could and get to the NFL.
Sullivan got to see Oklahoma's defense in person last season when the Wolverines traveled to Norman, and it's safe to say it left a lasting impression.
Just seeing the way the linebackers played in that game and throughout the year showed me the kind of success that potentially I could have. Obviously, I have to earn everything.
Cole Sullivan had quite the season a year ago wearing the maize and blue. Even had a big impact right here in Norman, sacking his now teammate John Mateer in that game. That's a moment that neither Sullivan or Mateer have forgotten about.
I've brought it up to him as much as I can. I try to bring that up to him. On my recruiting trip, Coach Dryling pulled up the clip for him when he walked in the door, so that was pretty funny. He's a good sport, though. He's real, obviously he's real competitive, so he got a little mad, but no, he laughed it off.
While Sullivan played his now rival Texas in the Citrus Bowl this past season, he's still yet to experience the atmosphere the Cotton Bowl offers, but his teammates have already started to prepare him.
I've heard a lot about it. Obviously, the hatred runs deep because it comes up a lot more than I expected already. I'm just really excited to get to play in that environment. The Michigan-Ohio State rivalry is home and away. It's a little different. It's a neutral site, so I've heard it's a great atmosphere.
In Norman, Hunter Cornejo, OU Nightly.
Great stuff, Hunter. Coming up, OU women's tennis rallies in their own alley against some Tigers, while OU softball is returning to where they love after a Bedlam loss.
We'll have the latest forecast causing changes for Diamond Sports coming up next in Big Friday Sports.
Welcome back, guys. We do have a baseball and softball games tonight starting at 5:30, so definitely keep an eye on the weather as we continue into the later evening hours, but it should stay clear for the most part. We are tracking some convection ahead of that line, so be sure to keep your eye on the radar if you are planning on going to either of those games tonight. And as we continue into tomorrow, we do have the spring game that starts right around noon, and those temperatures are going to be on the cooler side as we go throughout the afternoon. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Carlin. OU Diamond Sports each took trips to neutral sites for Bedlam battles, and they might want to forget those ball games, Oliver.
Yeah, Michael, a tough week for Sooner Diamond Sports. Softball will try to get back on track tonight, though, as they face number 6 Arkansas. First pitch was originally scheduled for 7, got pushed up to 5:30 due to weather. The Sooners will look to avenge Wednesday's Bedlam loss, which is the first time the Sooners have had back-to-back losses all year. Arkansas rolls into the series after taking 2 of 3 from a top 15 Mississippi State squad, but Patty Gasso knows how to get back on track after a tough loss.
We came in a little bit lethargic, a little bit like we got this maybe. I don't know, except it's unacceptable for the Sooners. So I'm not taking anything away. They absolutely won that game and beat us.
Well, after a stormy night ended a gloomy performance against Oklahoma State last Tuesday, OU baseball could be in for another round of weather. Game 1 against Missouri at Kimry Family Stadium has been moved to 5:30 p.m. tonight. Missouri is the worst team in the SEC, so OU could have an opportunity to bounce back after the Bedlam loss.
The SEC Women's Tennis Championship is in full swing in Norman. The Sooners look to ace the competition as they are facing LSU right now. The Sooners won their last meeting 4-0. With a win, they would clinch a berth into the semifinals tomorrow, which could set up a Red River rivalry match right here in Norman.
Well, Oliver, the NBA playoffs are almost set, and the final play-in game in the Western Conference will determine who plays the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. Steph Curry's vintage performance against the Clippers sets up a do-or-die game tonight at 9 p.m. against the Phoenix Suns, who lost to Denny Avdia and the Portland Trailblazers last Tuesday. Now, Game 1 for OKC is set for 2:30 on Sunday. Oliver, who will be Oklahoma City's opponent?
Shout out Dalton Davis. Steph Curry is the best point guard to ever do it. It's going to be Golden State Warriors. What do you think?
I got to agree with you. I mean, I think the Phoenix Suns are a better team, but it's Steph Curry. It's hard to go against the man that's just carrying all throughout his career, performances after performances. I think he gets one more, and we'll be back in Oklahoma City. Shades of 2016, but thank you so much for watching Big Friday Sports. For Oliver Schaefer, I'm Michael Thompson.
Have a safe and fun-filled Friday as we spring into a Super Sooner weekend.